Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Alternate Careers Week, Day 4. As Todd mentioned, my name is Amy. I manage the Employment Services team at Immigrant and Refugee Services Association of PEI. Before beginning our presentations today, we respectfully acknowledge that we are holding these sessions on the traditional territory of the Mi'kmaq. We're very pleased to have everyone present today. We've had a great week so far of presentations across workforce sectors on the island, and we're just as excited for today's presentations as well. Before beginning, I would like to introduce a couple of welcome videos we have for you. Firstly, I'd like to introduce our Executive Director of Immigrant Refugee Services Association, Craig Mackey, which will be followed by a welcome message from the Executive Director of the Workforce Development Division with the Department of Economic Growth, Tourism and Culture, responsible for Skills PEI, Mary Hunter. So thank you again for joining us today and enjoy the event.
Hi, I'm Craig Mackey. I'm the Executive Director of Immigrant and Refugee Services Association, PEI. We used to be known as the PEI Association for Newcomers to Canada, but our new name better reflects who we are and what we do. We still provide the same supports and services for immigrants to Prince Edward Island. While we recently changed our name, we're still delivering the same supports and services. Alternate Careers 2021 is a week-long series of workshops designed to allow employers and those looking for work to connect with each other. For the second year in a row, we'll be presenting all of the workshops online. It's a great format to allow representatives from a number of different sectors to share information and to answer your questions directly. All week long, we'll be hearing from such diverse sectors as trades and construction, bioscience and healthcare, human resources and administration, and from those who work in the public service and many of our community partners. On behalf of our dedicated employment specialists who have been working so hard to bring this together, I hope you have a great week and take the most out of these workshops that you can possibly get. All the best.
Hello, my name is Mary Hunter, Executive Director with the Workforce Development Division of Economic Growth, Tourism and Culture, responsible for Skills PEI. I want to congratulate the organizers of the Alternate Career Week. Congratulations to the participants in this event. The international experience that you bring and the wealth of knowledge and opportunities for our island employers make us proud to be participating in this event. Congratulations to Immigrant Refugees Services Association of PEI. We look forward to hearing the success of the event and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Hannah, and we're really excited to have you here today and featuring the presentations from the 4 employers. Each of these employers are really going to be sharing a lot of detail about hiring requirements, job opportunities, specific skill sets that they're looking for, and also pathways to employment. So thank you to each of them for joining us here today, and I'll pass things off to Jordana.
Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining us for our 4th day of Alternate Careers 2021. Today we have lots of employers like Hannah said, so speaking first we will have RCMP Ellen Peters, then we will have Health PEI and Janet Horn will be talking about Health PEI. Next we have Paula Amir and Angie McCall from the Public School Branch. City of Charlottetown will be next with Emily McLeod. After that, we will close with some client success stories to help motivate you in your search. And then we'll have a quick closing and introduction to tomorrow's employers. So, as stated, our first employer will be the RCMP. So please help me welcome Constable Ellen Peters. So the RCMP is the Provincial Police Service of Prince Edward Island since 1932. And today is responsible for policing nearly 90,000 island permanent residents from all rural communities on the island. RCMP is committed to the well-being of the people of Prince Edward Island and takes great pride in being active citizens of their communities. Constable Ellen Peters is the new proactive recruiter for the RCMP in Prince Edward Island. She has almost 16 years of service working for the RCMP, and most of that is in general duty policing. She's originally from Halifax, Nova Scotia. She's married and chases her 3 young children around when she's not working. Her presentation is geared towards recruitment for regular members, so police officers with the RCMP, but she's able to discuss those who may wish to work for the RCMP in civil support roles. So please welcome Ellen.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? This is my first Zoom virtual presentation, so hopefully it goes well. I was hoping to not have any technical issues, so hopefully we won't. So my presentation this morning, typically it's about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes long, so I am going to skip over a lot of information. But the career presentations for recruiting that I do, they are public for people to come in. I am hosting ones in person now, and you can sign up, and I'll go over how to do that. But if you're looking for more information, you can reach me, and again, I'll send that information out a little later. So my name is Constable Ellen Peters. I have over just about 16 years service, and I just as of October 4th have been put in this role for proactive recruiting for RCMP here in PEI. And thankfully I am able to host a small number of people in person for the presentations. So the first step to join the RCMP, and again, my presentation today is for regular members of the police force. So we have over 29,000 employees across the country and across the world. And today's presentation is geared towards regular members of the RCMP, so police officers. But we also have very many civilian member and public service positions and employees that support frontline policing. So if that's something that does interest you, again, you can contact me and I will kind of navigate you through there of how to get in touch with the people for human resources for those jobs. So today, the first step to join the RCMP, it's as simple as Googling RCMP jobs and go on to the jobs.gc.ca, the Government of Canada website for federal jobs. And there's due dates for every one of them, but right now we have one posted and the due date I believe is the end of the month, but as soon as the start of the month comes, a new one will be posted. So some people get a little nervous about that. But you go online and you apply. So the basic requirements that you need, it used to be you had to be a Canadian citizen, and that has changed in the last number of years. You now have to be a permanent resident. So you have to have your residency, and you have to have resided in Canada for 1,095 days. So it's approximately 3 years out of the last 5 years you have to physically have been living in Canada with your residency. Another requirement is that you have to speak English or French. If you speak other languages, that's a bonus, that's excellent, but you have to speak English or French. You have to be of the age of 18 in order to apply to the RCMP. You can go to training. Our training is in Regina, Saskatchewan. So you can go to training as an 18-year-old, but you have to turn 19 by the time you graduate. You have to have your grade 12 or equivalent. So your GED would also suffice for that. And we have a hearing and a vision test that you have to have completed in order to join. So in order to apply online, those are the basic requirements that you need. That's it. So you apply online and then you come meet me for a career presentation. Here at headquarters, I'm doing them all across the island. And you come to the presentation, which is approximately an hour long. The next step in the process would be our exam. So the application process is fairly lengthy and takes approximately 6 to 12 months to complete. So it's not a quick application by any means. It's full of interviews and tests throughout it. So the first test that you have, you come in, and again, I administer that exam here. It's online, and we do a series. It's approximately 2 hours long, and it's 2 sections. And the first section, it's all multiple choice. The first section tests you on your comprehension, your judgment, different things that we're looking for. The second part of that exam is the 6-factor personality exam. So it's not an exam that you can study and memorize for, but it is an exam that people do find challenging. My pass rate right now is at about 50% for the people that I've tested since October. So it is an exam that we provide a prep link for online, and there's also books that you can. I know I had a gentleman in here last week that said he went to Indigo and that they had a book there, but we do provide a practical exam to practice to prepare for that. So once you come in for the exam, you find out right there, it's done online with me here. You find out if you've passed or failed that exam. So if you fail that exam, you have to wait 6 months approximately in order to come back in and rewrite that exam again. If you pass, you go on to the next phase. So the next phase of our application process, we send out, you're assigned a RCMP analyst from Regina, and they send out a 23-page questionnaire that you have to fill out. After you've filled out that questionnaire, you have an interview, which is done through Zoom. Typically it's done in person, but with COVID, we are doing them by Zoom. The next phase is, or the next step would be the polygraph. And the polygraph, again, takes approximately 3 to 5 hours. So some people get nervous about being hooked up to the instrument, the polygraph, the lie detector, but you're not actually hooked up to the instrument for 3 to 5 hours. You're interviewed by the polygrapher. And so this is the time to be honest about anything that maybe we are asking questions about. So the things that we're looking for when we're going through the whole entire process is honesty. We're looking for your past work experiences. We're talking about education. We're talking to you about your alcohol and drug use, if there has been any usage. We're looking at your driving history. If you're an unlicensed, you have to have a license too. That was another requirement I forgot. You have to have an unrestricted license to join as well. Any use of force and use of computer and technology. So I do a lot of school presentations, and when I'm there, I talk to them about if they were to apply. We look at the last 10 years of your life. So when I ask them if they apply when they're 25, how far back that goes, and they say 15, and a lot of them are 15, give or take a year, that I'm speaking to. So I'm saying, your social media accounts, we want to know what you're posting or what you're commenting on, what kind of activities you're doing online too. So those are things to be mindful of, as well as any past military or peace officer experience. That's another thing that we're kind of looking at throughout the process. So once you pass the polygraph, we also send you, right now we're sending applicants to Fredericton to have their medical done. So that would be another meeting with a doctor, psychologist, and that phase we pay for. So if we send you over, if you've passed the exam, the interview, the polygraph, and then you get to the medical, we will pay for those exams. We'll pay for the cost for you to go over, the hotel, if you have to stay, the bridge, gas, all of that. If you're successful in that whole application process, that is when you will be given a troop. So your troop is out in Regina. That's where you go when you go for training. Every RCMP police officer has gone to Regina for training. It's approximately 6 months long, and we pay for your time and everything while you're there. So we'll pay for your accommodations. We pay for your kit and clothing. We pay for your meals. There's a mess hall there that we pay. All of your meals are provided. It's its own little city. Depot is self-sufficient. We have laundry, dry cleaning there, a barber there. There's a medical center there. So when you go, we also pay you to attend the training. So some colleges may make you pay to go to a police academy, but we actually pay you to attend. So every 2 weeks, you'll get a paycheck from us. And at Depot, there's lots of different things that you will be tested on throughout your time there. So it is a very mentally and emotionally challenging time. And they're doing that to prepare you for real world policing. So it's 6 months long. You go to They train you for police driving tactics. They will do applied police sciences, which is classroom, where you will learn about the criminal code, statutes, charter of rights. You have tests, you have exams. They'll talk to you about or teach you about the 10 codes, the phonetic alphabet. There's lots of things that you have to learn. So there's that. There's drill class. There's police. I think I already said police driving. There's firearms. And then there's also your gym, which would be your physical test. So in the application process, we used to have a physical test called the PEI, and we no longer require that in the application process. However, you still have to be successful and pass it at the end of your 6 months of training at Depot in Regina. So after you've passed all of your exams, and there's benchmarks and everything, and firearms and driving, your exams, your paper exams, all of that, you will then graduate from Depot. So your family, again, a lot of the times family and friends back home will fly out for that graduation ceremony. You're typically, when I went to Depot 16 years ago, it was actually 16 years ago on November 6th, I left and went to Depot, and I didn't see any family or friends for the 6 months. Sometimes family and friends will fly out to visit cadets while they're out there. But at the end, there is a ceremony. You'll receive a badge, you'll receive a posting. So I have a map, and I meant to send it for everyone to see. But there's posts all across Canada. In Quebec and Ontario, those are the two provinces that we are not the provincial police force. So there is still thousands of RCMP members in those two provinces, but we are not the provincial police force there. So there's no detachments per se where you're going out and enforcing the Highway Traffic Act or pulling people over in Quebec and Ontario. But every other province and territory, we are. So you could go anywhere in Canada. Sometimes people from PEI specifically want to come back to PEI. And although that has happened, it's not common and kind of an expectation that maybe would be hard to meet. So when you graduate Depot, you are assigned your first detachment, and we will pay for your flight from Regina home to pack your belongings, and we will pay for you and your family to move to your first detachment. And during that first 6 months, you will be assigned a field coach trainer who will kind of help you adjust from Depot training to real life and apply it to real life situations. And after your 6 months, there's you're in a 2-year probationary period. And from there on, your salary continually increases. So when you graduate Depot, we just recently became unionized in July. I know this is a lot of information that I'm putting out there. We just unionized in July, so we ended up having a pay increase there. So when you graduate Depot, for the first 6 months, you're paid for field coaching, and then at the next 6 months, you get another bump, and then it continues until after 3 years. After 3 years, you will be at the full junior rate of constable, which is $106,000. And then you will continually get pay increases with pay severance, with severance pay. So every 5 years, we do get a severance pay. So that is a lot of information. Again, I kind of went over everything from the start of the application, which is on jobs.gc.ca. You can find me if you look up how to apply for the RCMP. It'll bring you to an RCMP website. And if you go under PEI, you'll see all of the events that I have listed, which are mine. It's me that's doing them. And I'm open to meet with people. I love meeting with people. I had a couple people here a few weeks ago, and they brought up something that I had never thought of. And it was an issue they were having with actually the physical application process on that Government of Canada website. So I'm currently trying to put together a session just for that. Typically, I start with the career presentation and the exam, but I've come to learn that some people are having issues with the actual application process. So I am trying to put together something to help hopefully make it a little bit easier for people to do that. But yeah, if there's any questions or I know it's a lot of information, but I'm open to questions. And if there's something you don't feel comfortable asking here, you can email me or again, look for those events and attend one, and we can go from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Constable Ellen. We really appreciate that information. So as stated, now is the time for your questions. So you have two options to ask your questions. You can raise your hand and ask your question in person, or you can also write your question in the chat box and we can ask for you.
I might actually lead off with a question. Earlier on, you mentioned that French and English were standardized requirements for entry into this profession with the RCMP. I'm curious how or if you do any testing for that.
So part of that test would come with our initial test that I put on here, because it is, you can choose to do it in French or English. But if you are French, we do testing to see at what level you are for French. And again, you can speak 5 or 6 different languages, and that's a complete asset, 100%. But you just need to be able to be fluent in English or French, as they are our official languages for Canada.
Thank you.
Okay, so I see that Eric Myers has raised his hand. Eric, would you like to ask a question?
Hi, Ellen. Thanks for coming out to our career event today. I just wanted to ask you, what do you think are the most rewarding parts of the job in the being an RCMP constable, and what would you say are the most challenging bits?
That's a good question. The most rewarding part for me personally, I can't speak for everybody, is helping people. When I was in grade 9, I either wanted to go into social working or police officer, and it was to help people. So I tell people, if they're joining to join for the salary or to join for benefit or something like that, you're joining for the wrong reasons, because every day people call and they need our help, whether it's something minor or whether it's something major. So I would find, and every once in a while, I'll get an email or a phone call from someone that maybe I helped at an accident 10 years ago. And they'll just say, you know, your kindness at that time made a difference for me. And those are the kind of things that I find rewarding. The challenges would be dealing with traumatic events, because we're just people too. So making sure that we have mental health care lined up and that we take care of ourselves, because we are exposed to different traumatic things throughout our careers, whether it's accidents or deaths or you know, violence that we're exposed to. So those would be some of the challenges that we face. And our organization has come a long ways in recognizing that mental health is a priority. And we have, even here in PEI, they've created positions to make sure that those support systems are there for us, to the point that nationally, they actually just rolled out that part of our medical. So you have to do a medical to apply to the RCMP, but every 3 years as a police officer, you have to go through a medical, which is hearing and vision, blood tests, and medical meeting with a medical doctor to go over forms. But now it's mandated that we also have to meet with a psychologist, which I think is excellent, because we have to make sure that we're healthy in order to provide that service to the public.
Yeah.
So I actually have one question too. Could you maybe just mention some of the other roles other than on-duty RCMP that are available?
Yep. So as I said, the career presentation I do is geared towards regular police officers, and within regular police officers or regular members of the RCMP, which are police officers, we have over 150 career specializations just as police officers. But aside from the police officer, we have civilian members and public service. So that can be, and again, there's hundreds of, like many different jobs there, whether it's here specifically in headquarters. We have support staff and telecoms, which are civilian and public service members. We have criminal analysts downstairs in the building, that again are civilian and public service members. We have administrative supports at the different detachments. And again, here, they're actually, I just was in a meeting 2 weeks ago, and they're talking about making a civilian investigating investigator position where you won't be a police officer, not necessarily carrying a firearm, and you'll be investigating different things, maybe taking statements and things like that you can do without being an actual police officer. So there's many, many different roles that are part of the RCMP that support frontline policing. So if carrying a firearm or being a police officer is not something that you're interested in, but you do maybe want to work for the National Police Force, there is probably a job here for you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, last call for questions. Okay.
All right. Go ahead. No, I was just going to say thank you so much. Really informative about, especially about joining the RCMP as a police officer, as a serving member in that way, but also just the bit of information on civilian opportunities as well. So up next, we're going to introduce Health PEI, our representative from Health PEI, presenting on all of the different career opportunities, hiring practices, and skill requirements. Health PEI is responsible for the delivery of publicly funded health services across the island. The organization operates hospitals, health centers, public long-term care nursing facilities, and community-based programs and services. Health PEI has opportunities across the island, including nurses, physicians, and allied health professionals. Today, we're excited to welcome Janet Horn, a bilingual recruitment and staffing consultant with Health PEI. Janet, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for inviting me today. I'm really excited to be here. I do have a PowerPoint presentation just to kind of keep me on track, so I'm just going to share my screen if I'm able to. Let's see. I guess I'm not able to share yet, or is anybody able to give me permission? Or, oh, here we go. Excellent. Thank you. I always have to ask permission for these types of things. Okay. So like I say, I've been with the Public Service Commission as a staffing consultant for about 15 years now, and 80% of our work, there's 10 staffing consultants across the island that work with the Public Service Commission. We focus in on health. So 80% is with Health PEI, and the rest is with the other government departments and finance, tourism, but 80% does take a lot of our time. And it's a fascinating career. I get to meet folks who are interested in working with the provincial public service. And this is my favorite part, is coming out to meet folks who are interested in working for us. And what we do every single day is meet people through an interview process. So we have postings, like Ellen said, with the RCMP, there's a job posting. We post our positions, and we're probably one of the most diverse employers. We could hire from cooks in the long-term care facilities or the hospitals, or we can hire nurses, we hire respiratory therapists. So every day is different. And I think that's probably why I enjoy this so much, because every day is a different day when you come in for your position. And I get to meet folks like you who have so much to offer, so many skills, so many experiences, and really it makes my job just the best, the dream job. I'll call it a dream job because of those reasons. So we are diverse, and what we do is we hire every day. There could be a vacancy, whether it's a mat leave or a new position, or someone's retired. Then we have to fill that position. So it could be a permanent role. It could be a temporary role that comes up. And we also have what we call casual opportunities. So say you're looking at making a career change or dabbling into a different career, but you're not quite sure you want to make the plunge. We do have casual opportunities. So that's casual, picking up some shifts, not on a regular basis, but just to kind of see what you might like. And also to replace perhaps vacations in the summertime. And it's a great opportunity to kind of see what's out there and do some networking. We have so many possibilities. We have social workers, we have RNs, LPNs, that would be called licensed practical nurses. RCWs would be resident care workers. And we also have service workers and cooks, like I had mentioned. We also have heavy duty mechanics. We have youth workers, child and youth workers across the island. Administrative support workers. So also in all our healthcare facilities, we have ward clerks and medical secretaries. We have correctional officers and engineers, and we have power engineers at our hospitals as well to keep the hospital running during a power outage. So you can see my day would be a varied day for interviews. So we like to tell folks where to go to apply, and oftentimes it's, like I mentioned, it's used to cover vacation, sick leave, and we do have a formal process of getting to know you and for your application form to come into us, because there's so much we want to know about you. We want to know if you're qualified, not only interested, but qualified, and you have the experience that perhaps some of the positions are looking for. And if any of you have any questions, I can certainly answer them at the end of the session, like mentioned. So if you're wondering where to begin to start this employment process, the best place is our website. So it's very easy to remember, jobspei.ca. So you click on that website, and I kind of took a screenshot just so you're aware of what you'll see when you first get there. So the PEI public service comprises of the provincial government opportunities, and then the health career opportunities, and then public schools branch, which I think Paul is right behind me, but speaking about those opportunities there too. So we're all tying in quite nicely with this public service presentation. And once you're there, you'll see the external competitions, you'll see the internal competitions. So those are for folks who the positions are only open to once you're an employee. But the beauty of it is you just have to work one shift in health, and then you're eligible to apply for any internal competition. So that's kind of a bonus of starting, even as casual. You're like, oh, I see a dream job, I'm going to apply for that. So that's the bonus of working with health. And so that's where you'll go to see all those postings. And I kind of drilled down a little bit. So right now, this is a screenshot from today. And just by looking at all of our external positions that are there, there's 8 vacancies in administration, finance, and management. There's 3 in administrative support. There's 22 in allied health, 93, in nursing, patient resident support services, 26, and then our casual lists are all there as well. So there's quite a few lists you can choose from. So they're all there, and if you ever need help to try to figure out where to go, or you can scroll down and see what qualifications. It's all very well listed to be an RN. This is what I would have to be trained in, or my education. So once you click on one, I chose another one just to kind of show you. So say you're interested in becoming a social worker on the stroke unit, there's a position for you. So there's the part-time, it indicates if it's a temporary, how many hours a week, and the salary. And then it kind of gives you a little description of the duties. And then actually your minimum qualifications. So you can kind of scroll down and have a look to see if there's anything there that is of interest to you. And our address is there, our phone number is there as well. If you're having any difficulties or if you have any questions, don't ever hesitate to kind of get into there. So to apply and to kind of register, there's also, you can create your own job account, and it indicates how to apply and the method to go through that whole process. This is going to be updated by June of next year, so we're really excited. It might be a little bit more attractive for you as well. But these are just screenshots of what's there today. And so you've applied and you've indicated all your information and then your competition number, your phone number. After that, this is my favorite part. So we get to meet you, we screen your application. The interview is my ultimate favorite part, where I get to know you and what you're interested in, and if you have the skills and the knowledge. And then of course the referencing part. So that's all part of the process, and it's just to kind of, I wanted to give you a sense of what the whole interview process included. And it is it is nice to have a preparation part. You know what to expect from folks, and maybe the department you're applying for. So I always say research the facility and just to become a little familiar with what your job you're applying for. And it is a little formal, so you might see 2 to 3 people on the selection board, and of course it's a professional setting, but we want to make sure you're comfortable. So we'll make every opportunity to make you comfortable. There could be virtual interviews, it could be in person, whatever we have the facilities to help you with that. And yeah, so I'd just like to let you know that we'll be making you feel at home. And the reason I always like to on these recruitment sessions and to kind of tell you about our service, we always like to tell you what's available. So there's many different opportunities, and it's such a diverse place to work, but there's also a lot of benefits. Benefits could be competitive wages. We have health and dental coverage if you're a permanent employee, pension if you're a permanent employee, and we really value training and development and continuing learning. So there's a lot of funds that you can tap into once you become an employee as well, that if you want to continue on with your master's or pursue another degree, or and we value diversity too. So that's all the benefits that we try to sell people, and put you on my fishing hook to kind of sell why it's so fun or so wonderful to work for the province. So those are the benefits. To contact us, we're in Charlottetown, but we're across the island as well. The Public Service Commission is located at the Rochford Street. If you want to drop in, have any questions, or you could send me an email directly as well. I'll leave my contact information there too. And yeah, that's basically what I wanted to share with you today. I know it's a whole lot to cover in health, and I could, be specific in one area, but there's so many different areas. I wanted to show you how vast we are in that employment world. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them, or if you want to send me an email later on, I could answer any questions too. Yeah. So thank you.
All right, Jan, thank you so much. Really informative and lots of great information that you shared. I'd love to open it up, and if any clients have any questions that they want to ask, just either you can do the raise hand feature, or you can just turn your mic and audio on and ask away, or you can also chat in the box. And maybe while we're waiting for that, kind of a question that I would have is, what would you say, aside from nursing, would be the opportunities that right now that you have the greatest demand for?
Oh, aside from nursing, in health, you want me to focus in
health, or even just in general across the province?
It's funny. It kind of goes in waves. And right now we are actually having difficulty recruiting for medical secretaries and health unit coordinators because there's such a demand. Social workers, definitely social workers, and mostly LPNs, RCWs, and nurses. Yeah. So all the 3 nursing areas. So. Yeah.
And kind of continuing with that same question, maybe the forecast in 3 or 4 or 5 years, are you able to assess or judge what the needs might be then?
Sorry, you cut out for a little bit, but you say
that's okay.
4 or 5
just
years?
Kind of like, are you able to forecast even in 3 or 4 or 5 years of what the needs might be then? And I'm asking the question because it can give clients an idea of maybe if they're thinking of retraining for something, what the possibilities are.
Absolutely. I would say basically any career that you feel it. I always say if you've chosen health, you've chosen well, because it's a growing field, and it's also very vast. So if you do become trained as an RN or an LPN or even a social worker, you can focus in, like, say you have an interest in mental health, but also or maybe primary care or even long-term care. There just seems to be so many doors. So being trained, coming out of school, there's just so many doors that may be of interest to you. And I guess I'm kind of going around that question. I can't, in 4 or 5 years, I think it's probably going to be around the same areas, of course, physicians and specialists. There's a lot of specialist positions that are coming that are, you know, when we have competitions, we have not 20 podiatrists applying. We have a couple, you know, so we're always trying to recruit, and we do have a health recruitment and retention secretariat who does a lot of our health PEI recruitment. So they would say probably social workers and RNs, because I did have a chat with them before today, and those are the areas that we'll continually see a demand for. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Janet. So it seems there's a question in the chat. I might just expand on this question a little bit, because I think it's kind of asking your policies around hiring temporary workers, so students or workers, as well as permanent residents and citizens. So I wonder if you could touch on that. I believe it was Julia who asked the question. So maybe, Julia, after she's done, you can just confirm that she did answer your full question.
Okay, sorry. So the question was about hiring temporary residents, or yeah.
Yes, and kind of your policies around reviewing applications and whatnot.
Yeah, well, we have to ensure that you're legally entitled to work in Canada. So as long as you have your visa, if it's a student visa or whatever permission you have to work here, we will go along. We'll follow through with your paperwork, and we just want to make sure that we're able to hire you. So often on our application form, it does say, "Are you legally entitled to work in Canada?" And if so, it'll further ask you what your status is and if we're able to do so. So absolutely. Yeah, if you have any further questions, we do have a consultant name. His name is Tilak Tenacone, and he helps us out a great deal to kind of work with folks to see what their if there's any restrictions or not with your paperwork. So yeah.
All right, we'll carry forward, and it looks like Anil has a quite a specific question. And Anil, if you would like to turn on your audio and ask your question, you're welcome to do so.
Hi,
Hi.
this is Anil. I worked as a physician in Trinidad, and
Okay.
I would like to know if there is any opportunity in health PEI.
Yes.
Like,
Well, there are, and what I can do is we do actually have a physician recruiter, and what I can get your contact information and send you exactly to that person, and we'll get you all set up for some conversations. Of course, they do some background work to make sure that you're able to. I think you're probably aware of all the paperwork involved of working here as a physician, and but we will certainly work with you to try to answer all your questions on that for sure. Yeah.
I know right now I don't have all the requirements, well, because
Okay.
I need to finish the exams and all those things. But if I
Okay.
need to get some other career, like some other opportunity in health PEI for
Yes.
now,
Mm-hmm.
are there any opportunities for me?
Yeah, and there are, and of course we could chat with you of what your interests would be. So oftentimes I wouldn't suggest anything until I know what you're actually interested in. So
Okay,
if you want to reach to me after this, we can chat, and I can kind of get from you your interest, and we'll kind of work from there.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Nice
you
to
very
meet
much.
you. Okay.
Thank you for that, for answering that question. It looks like there's one more question from Dudu. Dudu, do you want to turn your audio on and ask your question?
Okay.
Hi, Janet.
Hi.
So my question, you're talking about experience. You say some of the position they need people with experience. What about the students who have recently graduated without any experience? What do you do?
Well, every position's a little different. So some may not require any experience. Of course, we know we have a lot of grads starting with us in every different type of career. So, but if you do have international experience and from another, we certainly would value that. So do you have a specific area that you're interested in, or?
Like in youth worker, social worker?
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Well, it's wonderful to have that experience, because oftentimes, like during the interview process, we'll ask that of you, and we'll see how beneficial it'll be to your transferable skills and to the position that you're applying for. So absolutely. No, it's some are required. Like say if you're applying for a specific higher level youth worker, like a supervisor, we may ask for, 10 years of experience or something like that. So that's why I say experience in some of them, but yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Great question. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, I might actually continue on with that particular question that Dudu was just asking. Does the province accept any students to do their OJT
Yes.
and their on-the-job training?
My goodness, yes. I always say yes, because that's the perfect opportunity. Say you're finishing a program and you're really highly interested in a certain area. I would say, try to get your OJT in that area, because oftentimes, more often than not, I don't want to say all the time, but you make a good first impression and you really enjoy it. They enjoy you. If there's positions that are available, you can keep going as casual. So I often say that's a valuable time to, and absolutely, we do take OJTs, there's placements, there's all kinds of opportunities for that. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Janet, I do have one more question from Jenny. So I see that Jenny's on camera. So Jenny, would you like to ask your question in person?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ms. Janet said you have a lot of vacancies for medical secretaries.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go to search for jobs, it always asks you to have a medical secretary graduation diploma and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to know, if you have a medical person with, like, say I have a physical therapy background and I have a medical transcription background, is there a way you guys can give a small training? Because basically you guys need someone with a medical background who can recognize the medical words and terminologies and how it works in hospital. So is there a way I can get a small training rather than I go for a 10 months, 12 months training to start up the job?
Yeah, good question. We actually are looking into equivalency. So because we're a unionized environment, and I won't get into too much detail, but every position has a specific requirement. So when you say we need a medical office training, that means the skills that are required are usually offered by that program. So it's transcription, terminology, like you mentioned.
Right.
Wonderful. And so, and often office studies are part of that program. So we needed those skills in order to do that position. But now we're looking at equivalency. So does that person have a lot of experience in a certain area in an office environment? So we're continually trying to update our processes and our methods of screening, because we certainly value your medical experience and training and for a position, but we just have to make sure that unions are okay with that too. And so it's an ongoing process, but we've actually it's active right now. So this fall we're looking into that very actively to see, okay, this person has wonderful skills, how can we utilize them if they don't have that specific training. So
because right now I work as casual on Borden, and I applied a couple of vacancies, but I was never been called. So I really wanted to know why. What is stopping? Is it because I don't have a medical secretary?
Yeah, most likely. But come see me, and we'll make an appointment. And we'll chat. And we'll see what else is out there. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I would love to do that.
Absolutely, anytime. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So thank you so much for that question. We'll get one more in here from Dana. And Dana, you're welcome to specifically ask your question. And essentially it's going to cover, what are the requirements for secretarial or administrative roles. But I might add to that as well, like if there are any particular training programs or testing requirements that you have to do for that.
So yes, there is specific training for administrative or secretarial, and that's actually what I was just mentioning to Janim. We are actually looking into the experience part to kind of that equivalency. So there are many different office studies programs, and of course from different areas. So if you do have a diploma or a certificate in that type of training, we'll actually look into that and see if it's equivalent to what we recognize. And there's so many various options nowadays. You can do online training. You can go to an educational facility in person, but there are specific ones, but if you have a specific one, I can do the research, check it out, see if it's recognized, and we'll take it from there. So yeah, great questions.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Janet.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. So we'll be moving along here to our next question, or sorry, our next presenter, I guess.
Okay, so next we have the public school branch. So the public school branch employs a diverse group of permanent and casual staff across Prince Edward Island in a variety of teaching and administrative categories. They support over 19,000 children in kindergarten to grade 12. Today we have Angie as well as Paula joining us, who are human resource managers. So please take it away.
Anyway, I can start off chatting. So welcome everybody. It's nice to be able to virtually see everyone and welcome you to hopefully seeing your applications come along to, there it is down there, to the public schools branch. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on the public schools branch. So we are from tip to tip, Surrey to Tignish. We have 56 English schools, and 30 of those are dual track. So when I say dual track, they offer French immersion and English within the school. And we have 13 alternative education sites, as well as we have almost 20,000 students now and about 4,000 employees, including our substitutes and casuals. We are a unionized workplace. The unions that we have are CUPE, UPSI, and PEITF, as well as excluded employees. We have two main branch offices. We're in Stratford and Summerside. Let's see, what else do we have? So I could list off all kinds of types of positions that we have with the public schools branch. Generally what you would see, kids would have access to every day, or the people that they would see, employees, would be they start their day with their bus driver, they get into the school, the cleaner custodian greets them, principal and vice principal are there, then they're off with their teacher or specials teachers. Some may have an EA or a youth service worker. When you see the word student attendant, that's an employee that works with the medical needs of students. And a workplace assistant, you'll see in high schools. They work with kids that would be transitioning out into the workplace after graduation. Then the kids are going to see your school admin assistant. That's the face of the school. That's the person that everybody remembers from their school experience. We would have speech language pathologists work with our kids. We would have psychologists. There's occupational therapists. There's all kinds of positions that are available here from employment. And then what you would see at the branch offices would be your consultants. There's various types of consultants that work with the kids. There's autism consultants, inclusive ed consultants, behavior consultants. Then we have HERE teachers. We have EAL itinerant teachers. We have EAL assessment employees. Then we have your regular board base, which is your payroll, accounting, finance, HR. We have 2 school safety consultants. We have IT, and then we have our trades workers. So as you can see, there's a significant number of different types of employment with the public schools branch. So currently what we're looking for, and I'm sure you've seen it blitzed across social media and all those places, we're actively recruiting for substitutes for French and teaching, for educational assistants, youth service workers, cleaners, custodians, bus drivers, and school admin assistants. I'm going to touch on just a couple of those groups, and she's been working diligently trying to get some serious recruitment in place for French immersion teachers. So she's going to fill you in on what they've been doing with regards to that.
Yeah, so I'm working with a consultant right now, and we're actively recruiting French immersion teachers and substitutes. And as Paula mentioned, you do have to be certified or non-certified to be a sub. A certified substitute teacher would have to have their Bachelor of Education degree, and a non-certified would have to have at least 2 years of university to be a substitute teacher. But we are considering equivalencies as well, or even lesser, because we're in a crunch right now for our substitutes. Then we would also have to have language testing completed. So we'd have you, we'd get you referred to the Department of Education, and they'll do oral proficiency testing for your French. We're currently visiting some high schools, so if anyone has any high school children that are considering a degree in or becoming a teacher, we're going to the high schools in the near future and within the next month to discuss the opportunities in the government and in public schools branch for French-speaking individuals. And we'll hopefully get people thinking about taking their education further in the French immersion line. As well, we're visiting the universities, and we're doing lots of virtual job fairs for French recruitment. So for teachers and substitute teachers. Yeah.
So there's lots in the works for looking for teachers and French immersion. Some other specialties that we've had in the teaching that we've had some difficulty recruiting to, or we're still looking for more, would be in the school counselor. You may have seen last year we were actively recruiting for people who either were interested in it, might have the master's in social work or master's in counseling, but didn't have the BED program. So we had a lot of uptake on that and interest. So we hope that continues. The other area that we do a lot of hirings in is resource and behavior resource. And we found in the last few years as well, music positions. So we expect next year, there's been some pension stuff that has made it pretty appealing to some people to wait another year before they retired. So we do expect we'll probably have a fairly significant number of retirees come June. So I think we don't know quite yet because they're not required to provide us with the retirement date until later on in the spring. But I do expect we're probably going to see a high number of turnover in the teaching area. So another one that we have been experiencing shortages in now, and it's not so much, as I said, we're a unionized environment. So it's really difficult to recruit people to be a substitute when it's all unknown how much work you're going to have. So, we're always looking for substitutes. But as I say, we don't know how much work there would be. But I do expect as well, there'll be some turnover in the school admin assistant positions. So yeah, stay tuned on that. And as Janet talked about, we do some testing as well for our positions. And we are looking at being able to recognize equivalencies as well. Right now, you still have to hold a recognized relevant diploma and stuff, but we absolutely are looking at the possibility of recognizing equivalencies. The next group, well, that's still what it is. So that just gives you an idea of what the wages are for substituting. So, I can share these afterwards so that you have them. Now, with these positions in the schools, they're 7-hour-a-day positions, and they're 10-month positions. So that they follow the same school calendar as your kids would, or the students do when they go to school. So they're September to June positions. The other area that we've had a significant number of uptake in is with COVID. We had a significant number of positions that we were provided temporarily due to COVID to look after some of the protocols and stuff. So we've had a lot of new hirings. I believe it's upwards of 90 temporary positions in the cleaning group in the last year or so. So there's absolutely all kinds of opportunities in this group. The next one is, I want to touch in on the school bus drivers. So we actually, when I talked to you guys last year, I had asked somebody had asked the question about what would be recognized. Is there any equivalencies for school bus driving when you're not from, or you've immigrated here from another country? So there are reciprocal agreements in place with PEI Highway Safety that recognizes driving licenses. And there are some reciprocal agreements with other countries. So that's good as long as, you've had 5 years of a driving license. There are countries that they will recognize there as equivalencies. So We created here at the public schools branch, there's a new training program for school bus drivers, anybody that wants to be a school bus driver. So there's opportunity through skills to apply to be considered for the JDI training, and there's funding available. And as well, if you have a particular class type of driving license, you can apply to us as well. And we have an in-house training program. And so that's delivered by 3 of our managers here in transportation. So it's been very successful. We've seen a lot of success with that. And as well, we offer now with, even if you take the 3-week training program through JDI, we do an OJT for a couple of weeks with the successful ones through that program. So it's tailored to the actual school bus driving. So we've seen a lot of success in those in the last year. The other area that we're really experiencing shortages in is educational assistants. So those are the staff that work with our special needs kids. And there's been a significant increase in the number of positions that we've had for this group of employees. So we're just ready to launch in cooperation or in partnership with Holland College. They've created a 11-course program that is tailored to kind of what the public schools branch is looking for with regards to educational assistance and education. So what they're doing is it's being offered to our current substitutes that may not have the qualifications. So you can apply to be an EA substitute without the qualifications. So it's not like somebody's going to put you in an assignment where you absolutely would be at risk because you don't have all the qualifications for the position, but you're a substitute that can come in and the principals and the resource teachers all know and aware of, you know, what they should be doing or what they shouldn't be doing with the subs that don't have the qualifications. So we have a number of those and we're keeping them actively busy, but we're providing an opportunity to them if they have some core post-secondary education that can be built on with that, with the program that Holland College is offering. Then what will happen at the end of that, I think it's going to be a year program, could be 2, and it's going to be evenings and weekends. So what that will do is then provide them with an opportunity to be considered by the registrar at the Department of Education as having the equivalency of a human services program or the training that is now recognized to be an educational assistant. So we're really pleased to be having that launch soon, and we hope to see a lot of success with that. And youth service workers as well. That's another area that we've experienced a lot of shortages in. Now those wages will change. Right now they're at the bargaining table with this group. So I'm sure that when bargaining is all completed, there'll be some changes in those wages. So yeah, we've also, you know, we're an equal opportunity employer, and we are committed to employment equity and diversity in the workplace. We do touch base with TLAC a fair bit of time, like if he's got any applications of people that he has, he sends them forward, which is great and very helpful to us. So we love to see those coming. There's some contacts. When I share this, we'll actually put our emails on there and our phone numbers for anybody that's interested. And that's all we have for today. Does anybody have any questions?
Awesome. Thank you so much, ladies. So again, you can put your questions in the chat or raise your hand.
Oh, I should have said too, we're the very same process as Janet for applying. It's through the jobs online.
Yeah, so you can find those jobs all on the job bank. So the job bank is its own search engine. And if you do want that link afterwards, please contact your employment specialist. It's one of our favorite sites.
Yeah, it's actually in my slideshow. So if I share it there, it's all the links are in there for us.
Yes, and we've also. I was just going to mention, we've also included all of the links and information in the chat as well. So for any clients, you can certainly access the links through that. And you can also, you know, reconnect with your employment specialist, and we'll be glad to help you with next steps going forward as well.
I forgot to mention too, we put a new process in place. We're doing it on a trial here right now until after Christmas. What we've done is we've made a commitment and have every day of the week is set up for certain substitute interviews for each of our groups of employees. So there's dedicated times and schedules. So we have an employee here who every morning checks the Jobs Online website, pulls down every sub application that's gone on there, and reaches out within 24 to 48 hours to that applicant and sets up a time for an interview. So that you should be within a day or two, somebody's making contact with you and setting up a time for an interview to come in and to be considered for the position that you've applied for to be a casual. So we're really excited about that, so that it's constant. You know that somebody's reaching out to you within a quick turnaround time, and the faster you apply and the faster we reach out to you, the quicker we can get you on our sub list and get you out there working.
Right, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
No questions yet, but I wonder if maybe you could touch on some of the benefits of working in the school system, or the rewards for working in the school system. What's the most rewarding part or parts?
What's more rewarding than making a difference in a child's life? Like you can make a difference. Like, it's even here in the branch, like it's so exciting to know that when we're out there recruiting and we're getting the best people we can get, you're making a difference for a child. And that gives them the best education possible, emotionally, socially, academically. You make a difference.
Yeah,
I can't say it any better than that. Like, it's just the most rewarding employment, I think, for anybody. It's to make a difference in a child, to help them succeed and to be the best person they can be.
Yeah, I agree. I actually did substitute, and I can agree with that 100%. So we do have a client question.
If you want to turn on your microphone again, you're welcome to ask the question that you have.
Hi, Angie.
Hi.
So, talking about the substitute. So actually, I didn't know what was like the criteria or the process to work in a public school, because I recently migrated in Canada. So, but I enjoy working in school environments, and I am a French-speaking person. And,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Wonderful. Hey, we'd like you to put your application in.
Yeah, music to our ears.
So, because now I am doing a program that's called Collège de Lille, a youth worker program.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so but like to work with schools, and I don't know, I don't have a qualification as a teacher, but I did my postgraduate studies back home. And I don't know if, as a substitute, am I allowed to apply as a substitute teacher in French immersion?
Absolutely, put your application in.
Yeah. So just go on the government website under the public schools branch, and there's a a link there to apply for a substitute teaching, and we'll look for your name.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'll jump in here as well. That's something that I can help you with.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank
Great.
you so much, Anna.
And that's the other thing about substituting as well. Like, you can pick your schedule.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be 5 days a week. If you're even only available for a day a week, we still want you to apply. The system that we use is an automated system. It's called IRSA, for getting substitutes. And you absolutely set your schedule up to reflect what works for you. So it might only be, say, Wednesdays, and it might only be for, 3 schools in Charlottetown. Whatever you need or want, it absolutely can be tailored to what suits you.
I wonder if you could talk about, so I guess, are you able to be a substitute educational assistant and a substitute teacher at the same time?
Yes, you are. Yep.
Thanks.
Anybody else? All right. So, thank you so much to you both for the presentation and all the really valuable information you had to share about all of the really big variety of opportunities, what the current needs are, and also what the future needs are going to continue to be. So really appreciate that. So moving on, we'll go on to and feature our next employer. Up next, the City of Charlottetown, which employs approximately 600 employees during the busy summer season and approximately 400 employees during the winter or the remainder of the year. These employees are made up of permanent staff, seasonal, casual, and contract staff. The City of Charlottetown is a full-service municipality, so these employment numbers include opportunities in finance, fire department, human resources, parks and recreation, planning and heritage, police, or I should say city police, public works, sustainability, administration, and the water and sewer utility departments. All recruitment is handled by the Human Resources Department, and today we'd like to welcome Emily McLeod, who's a Human Resources Officer with the City of Charlottetown. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm going to try share my screen here. So yes, I'm Emily McLeod and I'm the HR Services Officer for the City of Charlottetown. So I handle things like employee relations, disciplinary matters, training and development, as well as recruitment. The city is a great employer just because we have so many different areas that people can work in. I know it was already mentioned, but we have 12 different departments, and that would include economic development, environment and sustainability, finance, the fire department, human resources, parks and recreation, planning and heritage, police services, public works and urban beautification, our tourism and events, water and sewer utility, and administration. And as you can see here, it's kind of broken out. I know it was mentioned we have about 1,000, up to 1,000 staff at peak times throughout the summer. And usually around 400 permanent staff year round. And that's spread out over our various departments. So what types of jobs are there at the City of Charlottetown? Like I said, there's a variety of jobs, anything from a sweeper to our Chief Administrative Officer. We have different areas that I think not a lot of people realize. So, a rink ice maker, building inspectors, all of our public works staff, which are anything from paving our roads to planting the flowers around the city that you would see on the corners. We have people that work at our wastewater treatment plant, police officers, fire inspector, and our parks and recreation staff. So kind of a variety of different jobs here at the city, all with different kind of levels of education that you would need. Some roles, there aren't any educational requirements there. We will train up on those things. A lot of people ask how to apply. Well, all of our permanent jobs and most of our temporary jobs are listed on our city website, which is www.charlottetown.ca, which is there on the screen. We now post all of our jobs there. It doesn't matter if it is temporary, seasonal, we will post everything on the website. Some permanent positions are also posted in the newspaper, and we do post a lot of our roles on Indeed or Work PEI or other professional sites. So if it was an HR specific role, we would post it on the CPHR Atlantic Career Center. If it was something, a superintendent for our wastewater treatment plant, we might post that on Municipal InfoNet. So we still post all of those on our website as well, but if you're someone in a professional role that looks on those sites, they are posted there as well. So how to apply for a role. We have an application process. So do I need to fill out an application? Yes and no. For something that would be a seasonal or casual position, you're required to fill out an application annually, and those applications can be found on the city website. We also have paper copies of those applications at the front desk at City Hall. Those would be more used for things like our truck drivers, snowplow operators, street sweepers, our more temporary work. A lot of our parks and recreations programs throughout the summer including like a tennis instructor or a sports and leisure program facilitator. Those you would be required to fill out an application. You should always include your resume with that, just so we can see all of the skills that you do have, and any references as well, so we don't have to follow up and ask for those. What we look for in an employee would be someone, you know, with a positive attitude, a go-getter, someone who can listen and have good communication skills, the ability to work well with others, someone who's open to learning new things, excellent judgment, decision-making skills, someone with relevant or transferable skills, or great work-related references. So we would kind of screen based on your resume and your application process. And let's say we connected with you for an interview. So things we would recommend you do would be to do your research before coming in to that interview, arrive on time, dress appropriately. This offer a handshake. We're now kind of the elbow bump, you know, with COVID. Avoid fidgeting or slouching. Sell yourself, and this is your chance to shine. We just want to learn about what skills you have and why you'd be a great employee with the city. Also just be prepared, don't rush, and, you know, explain why you would be the best fit. So some things we may ask you in the interview. We ask a variety of different questions. You know, things that start with, tell us about a time or describe a time when. So think STAR, situation, task, action, results. We may ask you to tell us a story. So describe the situation, describe what it was about, the actions you took to solve it, and the results you achieved, and how the situation turned out. Most of our questions will be about your experience or the relation to the job you're interviewing for and why you'd be a good fit. Be prepared to answer the questions related to why you left a previous job and questions related to gaps in your resume, etc. We will always call your references. So if you could provide 3 work-related references, that would be great. A lot of people say, well, I'm new. What if I don't have 3 work-related references? We can take, you know, character references. If you have a professor or a teacher that would make a great reference, we will accept those as well. And we're really just looking for someone that could speak to your character or your work ethic. Always let your references know in advance that they should expect a call from us, and be sure to pick references that will provide us with a good information about you, your work experience, and what you're like to work with. That's basically it about applying at the City of Charlottetown and kind of what we're all about. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know.
Oh, there. Okay. Thank you so much, Emily. Really informative and sharing all of the details about the opportunities throughout the city and throughout all of the various departments. Some seasonal, some casual, and more permanent opportunities as well. So we'll open it up here. If any clients have any questions, again, you can pop those into the chat, raise your hand, or, you know, turn on your mic and ask the question as well. So we'll just see if anybody has any questions. Oh, Stella, it looks like you have a question. You can turn your mic on and go right ahead.
Wonderful, thank you. What demand are jobs all the Charlotte area, or do you work outside of the area, of Charlottetown area as well?
That was kind of breaking up there.
It was really breaking up. I think what I could kind of hear is perhaps that, you know, curious, it seems like majority of the opportunities are right in the Charlottetown area. Does the city have any requirements or any jobs outside of the main city?
Not typically. Everything is kind of based out of Charlottetown, as the municipality would be. There are certain positions where the opportunity for remote work or you know, a flexible telecommuting schedule could be done. but in terms of what jobs are in demand right now, we are big on the winter operations. We're looking to gear up for winter right now. So all of our seasonal, snowplow, sidewalk clears, those types of roles would be the ones in demand.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and another question from our colleague Eric. You go right ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm curious about the urban planning division
Okay.
of the city of Charlottetown. I'm just wondering what the requirements would be for an entry-level position, or what you look for when you're recruiting in that field.
Sure.
Had some clients who are curious about that too.
Our planning department is made up of various roles. So a building inspector, our planner 1, planner 2 positions. We have an intake officer, a development engineer. So it kind of depends what role you're looking for specifically. I know we will be posting in the near future for a planner 1 position. I can't speak to the exact qualifications of that role, but all of our qualifications and requirements are listed on all of our job descriptions.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I might just follow up with that because you mentioned job descriptions, and job descriptions are so fun. How can our clients use those descriptions to get their resumes or applications noticed?
Sure. So a lot of the time when we are screening, we look at the qualifications section in a job description. And as long as most of those are highlighted throughout your resume, we really want to see, so it might say demonstrated ability to deal with sensitive or confidential information. So we really want you to spell that out in your cover letter or throughout your resume that you've done that in the past. So those are the types of key points. So if it says advanced Microsoft Office, we're really looking for someone to say, I have advanced Microsoft Office experience.
Awesome, thank you.
I might add on to that, a tip or a trick that I often share with clients is more than just saying you have the experience, but giving that critical evidence, and that evidence can be quantitative and qualitative. So the quantitative being the amount of time, or if maybe you're going into the banking sector, about how much you helped save money or save a client, or how you helped with revenue. So I do find that can be beneficial, is really giving the exact evidence to how you have that experience.
Absolutely. And some of our job descriptions will say we're looking for someone, with 5 years of recruitment experience. So we would want someone to identify that they at least have that 5 years.
Very much so. All right, thank you very much. So we'll just give it another moment here. If anybody else has any other questions, please raise your hand, turn on your microphone, or if you want to put that in the chat for Emily, we'll be glad to let you ask the question.
I do have a question.
Sure, go right ahead, Stella.
Wages. What is the average wage for an entry-level position? Like, for example, the street cleaners, maintenance people, and as well as some of the more specialized jobs. Is it a good livable wage?
So I can actually, if you have just a second, I can pull that up here and I can tell you exactly. The wage does vary by position and depending on what you're actually looking for. So I think you mentioned the sweepers there. I know we do have a few that do start at minimum wage, but most of our entry-level seasonal positions start around the $16 mark.
Okay. And how long is the seasonal? When you speak seasonally, what's that time frame? What, months, 3 months, 6 months?
So it depends on the role. Entry-level seasonal, you're not actually guaranteed any amount of hours. But after you've been with us for a few seasons and have worked 6,040 hours, you become a seasonal and you are then guaranteed a minimum of 20 weeks.
Do you have to reapply to following year? If you're a seasonal worker, do you automatically go back into the job, or do you have to reapply?
Seasonal workers do not have to reapply. Our entry-level seasonal, however, you have to submit an annual application.
Okay. It was wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so are there any other questions for Emily before we wrap up? Nope, doesn't look like it. So Emily, thank you so much for presenting on behalf of the City of Charlottetown, and again, all of the variety of positions that are available there.
Welcome.
All right, so at this time, not all of our presenters are still on, but we have a few moments to do any final questions. So if anybody has any final questions at all, it's speak now or forever hold your peace.
All right, so looks like no more questions today, so we'll move on to the final feature of our day today, and we'll be presenting a client success story. So today's client success story is featuring Ravina Sahani Bano. She's going to be sharing with you kind of her background of when she arrived on PEI, achieving her short-term goals, as well as what she did to achieve her long-term goal. And Ravina is currently working for the PEI Public Service Commission. So we'll be starting that video in a moment.
April 2019, and I came from India, not Calcutta, my city. I've worked in different fields. Actually, I've mostly been into customer service, but I've tried my journey into events as well as sales. I was working in Singapore before coming to Canada, so I've tried sales there. Customer service has been one of my major industries that I've worked in. I'm right now an executive assistant in the finance department in the PEI government. Reaching here, it's been a process, but it's been a really, I think I wouldn't say difficult, but yes, it's been a journey, but I cherish that journey because I think I started off working with Value Village because I wanted some Canadian work experience, and then I moved on to getting an education from Academy of Learning and admin assistant course from there, and I just gave my written test and the interview with the BSc, and I got a call for a series of interviews and got selected. I think consistency and patience, it goes hand in hand, because you have to keep trying. There have been times when you lose hope and you're like, oh, I'm not getting something that I want, but I think just going on trying and having that consistency in your life, that do not give up and just keep working towards it, it helps, and having a positive mindset that you will get there, because you will at the end. Oh, my employment counselor. She's been great, Hannah Jones. So she has, I think I came here and I met her as my employment counselor, and she guided me through the entire process of teaching me about Canadian work culture and the resume building, the cover letter building. Like, it wasn't foreign terms. I knew about them, but I've never paid too much of attention to the details that it might come across to the employer when I give them a cover letter or a resume. So the small things that she taught me and the entire referrals that she gave for me and kind of guided me about the interview process and how to be confident and how to show your skills, because it can be all good in the paper, but you have to prove it at the end that you can do it, and that has to relate to your work experience. So I think all these tips that she provided kind of guided me all the way. So yes, there were a lot of blockages, and then I think somewhere you kind of feel when you come from somewhere that what if I'm not up to the mark, or I can't do it. But I think what helped me, yes, was guidance from Hannah, and her constant motivation that you can do it, you have it in you, kind of, you know it, but when someone else tells you, you kind of feel the push that okay, someone is telling me to, so maybe there, I have to just hold on. And I think, yes, I'm a positive person by nature, so I never give up that easily, so I went on. No and yes, both. I knew it would be difficult to immigrate from another country and kind of prove your skill sets to people who do not know you, absolutely like do not know you. And over here, PEI is such a small community, everybody seems to be knowing someone or the other. So you have to make yourself known in a country amongst community who don't know you. So I think that's what I was expecting, and it was that way. But again, I don't feel that people were not receptive. They kind of accepted. I've got good companies that I've worked in since I arrived here in 2.5 years, and it's been a good journey. So blockages, yes, but you will reach there. So yeah. I think the confidence that I thought was lacking in me, like I always thought that I didn't have enough confidence to show. I think I overcame that because I gave so many interviews. I feel that slowly and steadily the interviews stopped scaring me after a while, so I stopped preparing for them that diligently. The fear of crowd and just going to a room full of unknown people, because you come to a country full of unknown people, so you kind of get over that fear. So I think my entire employment journey and expressing myself, showcasing my skills has improved over the years coming here.
So what a really motivating story that Ravina has shared with you all. You're just having that perseverance, knowing that you have employment specialists here to support you along the way, that there are additional resources and supports out there as well. We really hope this whole week so far you've seen and experienced all of the motivation from our clients and their success stories. So I'm going to pass it on to Jordana for wrapping things up today.
Yeah, so again, we thank everybody for coming to this day's event. I do want to remind you of our networking event. So tomorrow is our final day. We do have another Zoom session in the morning. Tomorrow we will have ACLIF, which is the Atlantic Immigration Career Loan Fund. As a presenter, we will also have Career Bridges. We'll have ASDA, which is the Atlantic Student Development Alliance. We also have TIPI, which is the Tourism Industry Association of Prince Edward Island. And we have Women's Network Trade Horizons. So make sure you sign on to take part in that. And then the networking event follows that in the afternoon. It is 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. All clients and employers or presenters are invited to this. So it's a fantastic opportunity for you to network, get your face out there, meet some connections to help you with your job search or your career advancement. There will be snacks and coffee served. And again, COVID measures will be taking place. So please, again, join us for that networking session. It's held at the Carriage House, which is 2 Kent Street, downtown by the government buildings or by Victoria Park. So thanks again, and all of the presentations will be shared with you via email. Enjoy your day.
Thank you.